Imagine the night sky suddenly lighting up with moving curtains of green, red, and purple light, shifting and flowing like something alive. And yet this phenomenon is not coming from Earth itself, but from a complex interaction between the sun and our planet. And this is exactly what we call the aurora, also known as the northern lights, or Aurora Borealis. At its core, the aurora is the visible result of charged particles from the sun interacting with Earth's atmosphere, and this process begins millions of kilometers away, because the sun is constantly emitting a stream of energetic particles known as the solar wind, which consists mainly of electrons and protons traveling through space at extremely high speeds. When these particles reach Earth, they do not simply crash into the surface because the planet is protected by its magnetic field, which acts like a shield and deflects most of the incoming particles away into space. But this protection is not uniform everywhere. Near the polar regions, the magnetic field lines converge and open towards space, allowing some of these charged particles to travel along them and enter the upper atmosphere. As these high-energy particles collide with atoms and molecules in the atmosphere, primarily oxygen and nitrogen, they transfer energy to them, exciting their electrons to higher energy states. However, these excited states are unstable, and when the electrons return to their original energy levels, they release the excess energy in the form of light. This emitted light is what we see as the aurora. Different colors appear depending on the type of gas and the altitude at which the collisions occur. Green, the most common color, is produced by oxygen at altitudes around 100 to 150 kilometers, while red auroras occur at higher altitudes, also due to oxygen, and blue or purple colors are typically associated with nitrogen. The aurora is therefore not just a visual effect, but a direct manifestation of energy transfer between solar particles and Earth's atmosphere, making it one of the most beautiful and scientifically significant natural phenomena. To fully understand how the aurora forms, you need to follow the journey of energy all the way from the sun to Earth, because the aurora is not a local phenomenon, but the final step of a much larger space process that begins with solar activity and continues through Earth's magnetic environment. The sun is not a calm object. It constantly releases energy and matter into space in the form of the solar wind, a patchwork of charged particles carrying both kinetic energy and the sun's magnetic field. And this stream can vary significantly in intensity, especially during solar flares and coronal mass ejections, when massive bursts of plasma are ejected into space at extremely high speeds. When this solar wind reaches Earth, it encounters the planet's magnetic field, known as the magnetosphere, which forms a protective bubble around the planet, deflecting most of the incoming particles and preventing them from directly impacting the atmosphere and surface. However, the magnetosphere is not a rigid shield. It is a dynamic structure that is constantly being compressed on the side facing the sun and stretched into a long tail on the opposite side, creating a highly active region where energy from the solar wind can be transferred into Earth's magnetic system. One of the most important processes in this interaction is magnetic reconnection, where magnetic field lines from the sun and Earth break and reconnect, releasing large amounts of energy and accelerating charged particles. These particles are then guided along magnetic field lines toward the polar regions, because that is where the field lines converge and connect to the atmosphere. As a result, the particles do not enter the atmosphere randomly. They are funneled into specific regions around the magnetic poles, forming what is known as the auroral oval, a ring-shaped zone where auroras most frequently occur. The intensity of the aurora depends on the strength of solar activity. During periods of high solar activity, more particles are injected into the magnetosphere, and the auroral oval expands toward lower latitudes, making auroras visible much farther from the poles. This entire chain of events shows that the aurora is the visible endpoint of a complex interaction between solar physics and Earth's magnetic environment, linking processes occurring on the sun directly to phenomena observed in our sky. Once charged particles from the sun are guided along Earth's magnetic field lines into the upper atmosphere, the most visually striking part of the entire process begins. And this is where high-energy electrons and protons collide with atoms and molecules in the atmosphere, primarily oxygen and nitrogen, at altitudes ranging roughly from 80 to over 300 kilometers above the surface. These incoming particles carry a large amount of kinetic energy, and when they collide with atmospheric atoms, they transfer part of this energy, causing the electrons in those atoms to jump to higher energy states, a process known as excitation. However, these excited states are unstable, and the electrons quickly return to their original energy levels, releasing the excess energy in the form of photons, which is visible light. This is the fundamental mechanism behind the aurora. It is not reflection or scattering. It is direct emission of light from excited atoms. The color of the aurora depends mainly on two factors: the type of gas involved and the altitude at which the collisions occur. Oxygen is responsible for the most common green aurora, typically observed at altitudes around 100 to 150 kilometers, where conditions allow for efficient light emission. At higher altitudes, above 200 kilometers, oxygen can also produce red light, which is less common but often appears during strong auroral events. Nitrogen contributes blue and purple colors, usually at lower altitudes, where collisions are more frequent and energetic. Another important factor is atmospheric density. At higher altitudes, the atmosphere is thinner, so excited atoms have more time to emit light before colliding with other particles. While at lower altitudes, frequent collisions can disrupt the emission process, affecting both the intensity and color of the aurora. This is why auroras are not uniform. They form dynamic structures such as arcs, curtains, and rays, which constantly move and change shape. These structures are shaped by the magnetic field lines along which the particles travel, meaning that what we see in the sky is essentially a large-scale visualization of invisible magnetic and particle interactions. The aurora is therefore the result of microscopic atomic processes that collectively create a massive, dynamic light display across the sky. When you observe an aurora, it never looks static because it constantly shifts, pulses, stretches, and reshapes itself. And this dynamic behavior is not random, but directly reflects the constantly changing flow of energy from the sun and the complex dynamics of Earth's magnetic field. The main reason the aurora moves is that the patach of charged particles arriving from space is not steady, but highly variable, and at the same time the structure of the magnetosphere is continuously changing under the influence of the solar wind, which means that the regions where particles enter the atmosphere are constantly shifting. A key process behind sudden changes in auroral activity is magnetic reconnection, where stored magnetic energy in Earth's magnetotail is suddenly released, accelerating particles toward the planet and dramatically increasing the intensity of the aurora. These bursts of energy can cause rapid brightening, fast of light structures, and the formation of complex patterns that can change within seconds. Another important concept is the auroral oval, which is the ring-shaped region around the magnetic poles where auroras are most likely to appear. And this region is not fixed, because during strong solar activity, it expands toward lower latitudes, allowing auroras to be visible much farther from the poles, sometimes even in regions where they are rarely seen. The shape of the aurora is also influenced by the geometry of Earth's magnetic field, because charged particles follow magnetic field lines, creating elongated, curtain-like structures that align with these invisible. And when the magnetic field fluctuates, these structures appear to ripple and wave across the sky. In addition, there are pulsating auroras, where the brightness of the light varies rhythmically, caused by changes in the flow of particles and wave interactions in the magnetosphere, giving the aurora a flickering or breathing appearance. All of these effects combine to create the impression that the aurora is alive, constantly evolving in response to invisible forces in space. In reality, it is a large-scale visualization of energy transfer between the Sun and Earth, shaped by electromagnetic forces and particle dynamics. Once you understand how the aurora forms and why it behaves so dynamically, it becomes much clearer where and when you can actually observe it, because its appearance is not random, but strongly controlled by Earth's magnetic field, solar activity, and atmospheric conditions. Auroras most commonly occur in regions close to the magnetic poles, such as northern Scandinavia, Canada, Alaska, and Antarctica, where the so-called auroral oval is located, which is the primary zone where charged particles enter the atmosphere. However, this region is not fixed. During periods of intense solar activity, such as geomagnetic storms caused by solar flares or coronal mass ejections, the auroral oval expands toward lower latitudes, allowing auroras to be visible much farther from the poles, sometimes even in Central Europe. Timing is also critical. Auroras can only be seen at night, because their light is relatively faint compared to sunlight, and the best conditions occur under dark, clear skies, far away from artificial light pollution. This is why remote locations with minimal urban lighting provide the best viewing experience. Solar activity plays a major role as well. The sun operates in cycles, and during periods of maximum activity, the frequency and intensity of auroras increase significantly, making them more likely to be observed and more visually dramatic. From a scientific perspective, the aurora is extremely important because it provides direct insight into the interaction between the solar wind and Earth's magnetosphere, allowing scientists to study plasma physics, electromagnetic interactions, and space weather processes in real time. Understanding these processes is not just academic. Strong geomagnetic storms associated with auroras can affect satellites, GPS systems, radio communications, and even power grids on Earth, making the study of auroras critical for modern technological infrastructure. The aurora is therefore both a beautiful natural phenomenon and a key indicator of space weather conditions, linking cosmic processes directly to life and technology on Earth. It represents one of the most striking examples of how energy from the sun can travel across space and visibly interact with our planet.